It's no secret that Digimon Adventure 02's Armor Digivolution is probably my favourite type of Digivolution. And it's also no secret that I'm not super fond of a lot of the Armor Digivolutions for the Digimon from 02 and beyond that we didn't see in 02, but were cemented by things like card games, V-Pets, etc. But what use is moaning and whining when I could be proactive by making changes to those Armor Digivolutions that I personally do not like? So on today's video I have teamed up with a new phenomenal artist, Fuzzy Comics, to fix the Digi-Egg of Courage Armor Evolutions.
To the salon!
Hey, there's no sponsor on today's video, so if you want to support more videos like this, you could check out KarnEX.store and maybe get yourself a t-shirt, hoodie, or phone case with our new Karn EX Adventure and Karn EX Fantasy designs. Look at that little dude. And of course, Time After Time is on there as well. Get yourself some merch, support more custom art videos. Lovely jubbly. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX. Welcome back to another video, and if it's not welcome back, make sure it is next time. And yesterday we are fixing the Courage Armor Digivolutions from the kind of extended 02 canon. Also, pretty sure this video is coming out after Digimon Survive, but Bandai Namco sent me Digimon Survive swag. I'm very happy. It's going to be here for ages now. Sorry. And yes, we are starting with Courage, but absolutely plan to make this a new series and we'll be fixing every single one of the Armor Digi-Eggs in turn. And before we get started, I do want to make it very clear that while we are fixing the art in this video, there is nothing artistically wrong with the original designs, and the original artist did amazing work with this, and we of course think that basically all Digimon are pretty great, but I just wanted to give our own tweaks and fixes that we think would bring these Digimon to the next level. As far as myself and Fuzzy are concerned, the show Digimon Adventure 02 set up some pretty clear visual rules for what Armor Digivolution should be. First of all, the rookie should still be visible under the armor. The body of that rookie can grow, elongate, or change, maybe even starting to resemble their champion form, but ultimately you can still see Vmon under Flamedramon's armor and Gatomon under Nefertimon's. And the second point is that the Digimental should be clearly displayed. A lot of non-show armors tend to just focus on the element, aka Flame and Dragons for courage, grass and Japanese tradition for sincerity, or just ignore it completely. Or even like make up new themes to tie into the egg. Aquatic holiness for light, I guess. So we want to really fix those forms where you can't see the Digi-Egg or Digimental, because they kind of feel like a direct contradiction of 02 and its toy line. But as such, there are some Courage armors that don't need fixing at all. With Flamedramon being a perfect example, as I said before, but there's also Flay Wizardmon, which is a bit of a weird outlier. Fuzzy and I ultimately decided that as it isn't a main armor for anyone besides Wizardmon itself, it does pretty okay with the Digimental and its purpose. I know some people are going to be like, that's not good enough. Well, maybe we'll throw him in as a bonus on the next one, I don't know. But then there is of course the beautiful Shadramon, being one of those rare armors we never saw in the show, but is still absolutely pretty much perfect. I mean, if I wanted to nitpick, I would say that Shadramon's body is probably more like Stingmon than Wormmon, so maybe it could be a lighter green, and maybe it could have the Crest of Courage on its chest piece, which Fuzzy obliged me with here, which now makes it perfect in my eyes. But what's less perfect is Allomon, which is Hawkmon with the Digi-Egg of Courage. Now, Allomon has definitely grown on me in time. I like that it has a similar feathery headdress as Hawkmon, and of course has a really genius idea at its core, taking the dinosaur elements of the Digimental that come from Agumon, Greymon, etc., and tying it into the idea that dinosaurs are the ancestors of birds, like Hawkmon. But of course it needs more Digimental of Courage in my opinion, and to keep that Hawkmon body, so it becomes this. Allomon 2.0. Still thoroughly giving the same vibes as Allomon, but now much more tied to the Digi-Egg of Courage, especially with the old necklace of Allomon expanding out into the chest piece, and being much more clearly Hawkmon's body under there, which acts as a bit of a double whammy because it also lets us acknowledge the fact that there is now a lot more dinosaurs that were generally agreed to be more feathered and less lizard looking. A real slam dunk here, I think. The only real thing of note here is that Allosaurus predictably was probably one of those dinosaurs that wasn't feathered or had very few feathers, so maybe along with this fix we could change its name to something like Pteryxmon, which comes from the Archaeopteryx, which is a genus of bird-like dinosaurs. Then moving over to Boarmon, Armadillomon's Courage armor, it definitely has potential and is overall a fun design, but its body does not resemble Armadillomon at all besides being quadrupedal, and while the fire mane is fun, where the armor at? During our discussions on how to improve these armor forms, I remarked and Fuzzy agreed how kind of hilarious it is that the hard-shelled, basically armored Armadillomon armor digivolves and somehow has less armor, basically zero armor, actually. So Fuzzy fixed that, giving the boar a really nice redesign. Now Armadillomon's body and tough shell are in full effect, but also covered in the Digi-Egg of Courage, with fire erupting from the back and still from the tail, but more pronounced. What were previously tusks more evocative of Tuskmon are now straight up the blade or the horn of the Digi-Egg of Courage, and while the headpiece is now more styled after the coloration of Armadillomon, it retains a black snout to evoke both the idea of pigs snuffling in the mud, but also the ashy nose one might get when surrounded by fire and ash. Also note of course the crest of courage on its back here. Then is Lynxmon, Gatomon with the Digi-Egg of Courage. And honestly, I really like what Lynxmon was going for. You can definitely see how that's supposed to be Gatomon under there, basically. And the fire engulfing its body is at very least on brand for Courage, but of course we can do better. So here's the upgraded Lynxmon, now fully covered in that Courage armor and with the crest on full display on a kind of armored tail ring, which is really fun. Gatomon's yellow paws are also combined with the Courage armor, and her claws become the blade of the Digi-Egg like Boarmon did with its tusk. But we still get to keep a ton of that fire erupting from basically every gap in the armor, so it still thoroughly feels like Lynxmon. This is another changed armor form that works totally fine with its existing name Lynxmon, but again, if we wanted to change things up more, I also like the name Kashamon, coming from the Kasha, a Bakeneko in Japanese mythology. Bakeneko literally means changed cat, which seems very appropriate for a Gatomon armor form, and the Kasha itself is, quote, "Wreathed in fire, these cats steal sinners' corpses from graveyards and brings them to hell," although sometimes they just keep the bodies to eat themselves or to reanimate them as corpse puppets, which I will admit is pretty gnarly, but also pretty cool. Now I know you're going to be wanting Patamon next, but I want to very quickly pivot to another Courage Armor Digivolution, which is very similar to Lynxmon in concept, and that is Salamandamon, which has been used as a Chumon armor and also a Tentamon one, but we're gonna focus on it as a Chumon Courage armor. And like I say, Salamandamon is basically just a lizard version of the exact same concept of Lynxmon. So Fuzzy and I agreed that Salamandamon needed a total page 1 rewrite, which led to the creation of Kiru Flamedramon. Coming from the word Kiru meaning to wear, Chumon really channels his inner Betsumon and Mimikyu, and wears a big puppet Digimon version of Flamedramon. Fuzzy used the plump proportions of a Gila monster as its base, which is why its belly and tail look the way they do. This form still remains technically everything we want from better armor Digivolutions, but also does something totally fun and unique. It also massively evokes X-Tyrannomon, which is a common part of the Puppet Digivolution family branching from Chumon, which makes a lot of sense as Flamedramon itself is so tied into the Agumon family, which is closely related to the Tyrannomon family of Digimon. I just cannot get over how funny and clever this design is. It is perfection. And then finally it's time to fix Baromon, my absolute least favourite Courage Armor Digimon, which normally digivolves from Patamon. God damn, what a waste. And it's an extra shame because Baromon's basis is actually pretty cool. It's based on the Barong, a Balinese mythological creature that is often celebrated in a similar way to Shisa and Chinese lion dancers. But Baromon himself just looks like some generic enemy from RPG Maker 2000, so Fuzzy transformed Baromon into this, preserving the important Barong inspiration and facial structure of the original Baromon, but tying it in so much more closely to the Digi-Egg of Courage. Again, that Patamon body is fully on show here, but more muscular and stocky to really match the vibe. The crest and armor also much more fitting to Courage Armor Digivolution than Baromon's green tunic, though I suppose the red cape works, kinda. In Baromon's reference book, it is described as a hermit that is also a guardian deity that protects the ruins database of a temple in a forgotten jungle, which I think this new Baromon could absolutely also do in the tradition of various lion creatures in many cultures. Again, like the previously mentioned Shisa and Chinese lions, but also the very common lion statues of my next door neighbour country, England. We're of course aware that Shisamon and Katoramon already exist, but as this is mainly based on the Barong, it becomes almost like a part of the family or branching tree alongside those Digimon. Maybe we could even rename it something like Shisa Baromon to really cement that connection, but you know, I think Baromon works just fine as a name. So that's it, our fixes for the Digi-Egg of Courage Armor Digivolutions. Incredible shout out to the phenomenal artist Fuzzy Comics who made this video possible. Please go check out his links in the description down below. Always wonderful to work with new artists and stuff, and when the work comes out so amazing like this, it really does make my day, so go and follow Fuzzy, show him some love and support in return for making this video possible. Let me know in the comments down below which of these fixes is your favourite. I know some of you are probably not going to like these or prefer the originals, and that's okay. That's the beauty of opinion, you know? But I personally am super happy with these fixes. Also, huge shout out, of course, to my sovereign ZDK14, as well as everyone else who supports this channel with their hard-earned money, including my Digidestined, Artsy Sky, Rule Lima, Metallic Pool, Ranma Kurova Greyfire, Full Fat Mark, Lost Feline Paish, Traces, Seven Wolves Rule, Red Lantern Lynn, Antichrist 620, Finish Caesar, Brandon Lister, Rec BCQ, Dresden Nova, Chaos Dude 7111, Andrew Sobel, Spiky Belmont, Gekkalucci, Koltaku, Kenya Kubiyaki, Kaya Jaeger, Saturn Kulkalum, and Crimson Dragon Slayer, as well as the Tamers, Karn Club, and Twitch subs. You guys are amazing. The Digidestined really seem to be growing right now. Now is a great time to join up and get early access to a bunch of videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.